Welcome, day 6. Today we're going to work mostly into the chest, but we're going to get into it through the shoulders. And our pre-check is going to be a supported fish. You can do this on 2 blocks, one under your upper back and one under your head. Or if you have a Coregeous ball, you can just put it under your upper back, in between, a little bit above your shoulder blades, and just feel what kind of extension you have across your chest. How much open-hearted feeling do you have? Right, so as Lisa just blisses out there for a few moments, I'll say that these muscles tend to get locked really short. Mostly we're talking about the pectoralis major, and we'll talk about some others as we go, but when you sit at your computer and your phone all day, this all collapses. So things happen that are not so great. It constricts your diaphragm and all your breath. It can lead to headaches and neck pain. And sometimes this is aggravated also by heartache, right? You're sad, and this is how we protect ourselves. So we're going to try and reset all that and find open-heartedness by the end of today. So we're going to start off, so that's your pre-check. We'll do that again at the end. We're going to start off today with the balls untoted, standing at the wall. Here, I'm going to take the other one, just so we can both be demonstrating. We're going to start off right at the top of your shoulder, just below the little lip of your deltoid. Pin the ball between your shoulder and the wall. And you can start to roll your body forward and back over it. So your back comes a little closer to the wall, your front comes a little closer to the wall. These are your deltoids. They span the whole top of that shoulder joint. The fibers in the front rotate the shoulder forward, the fibers in the back rotate the shoulder back, and the ones in the middle abduct the arm. As you do that, come around to the front and find the fibers on the front of your arm bone. So your humerus, right at the top there, is where your pec major attaches. This is a muscle that has a huge origin. It starts way up here at your collarbone, all along your sternum and your lowest ribs. It's this wide, and it goes across, and it all converges at one point on the top of your humerus there. So see if you can find that one point, something right around there. I think Lisa found it. She just had a big exhale. Okay, so spend a little time there. Give it a little love. You can move around it. Bend your knees, spin side to side. All right, and then we're going to come around and come to the back of the shoulder and start to work our way down that arm a little bit. You have a lot of attachments over there from all your rotators. Basically all your rotator cuff muscles attached to the back of the humerus head.
And they are painful.
Right, so go easy. You can put less pressure onto them by bringing your feet closer to the wall, more pressure by walking your feet out. You can move your arm. You guys have learned these techniques by now. You can improvise, spin the arm. So good. And then after you can pause if you want to hang out there more. And then we're going to start to bring the ball down from off the arm, down the outside. You've got this sort of pouch underneath your armpit that's made by the space between your shoulder blade and your rib cage, right? There's nothing, it's just soft tissue that's strung between your shoulder blade and your rib cage. And you can put your head on your hand there at the wall if you want, or however you want to arrange that arm. We're going to start to come down the back edge of that little cavity. So just moving slowly down. Come side to side. What you're finding here, the fibers here you're at the edge of your lat, the outside edge of your latissimus dorsi, your serratus anterior, which are chaturanga muscles for the yogis among us, and your intercostals, which are breathing muscles. And the noises that are coming from Lisa are legit if you're going, ah, yes. So do this gently. These are tissues that we don't usually roll. We don't usually get massage in our armpits, right? So if this is new, go slowly. It will get easier over time. And coming down, just going to come down toward the bottom of your rib cage. And we're going to pick this up on the floor, but we wanted to do this much at the wall. And then we'll just start on the other shoulder. So when you're ready, we're gonna start on the deltoid on the second shoulder, rolling forward and back. Deltoid, fun fact, it's the only muscle that it's its own antagonist, right? The forward fibers of it do the opposite of what the back fibers of it do. I know, I'm a goof. I think that's so interesting. Alrighty, and then roll over toward the front. Find the pec major attachment on the top of your humerus. Or another way of saying that is find what feels good to roll in that general vicinity and roll it. It doesn't really matter if you're hitting exactly the anatomical landmarks that we're talking about, as long as you're feeling relief there, because we can't be in the same room, we can't verify it for you, so just roll something that feels good in that general area. And all the ways. And then once you've had enough of that, you're going to come around to the back again and find those attachments on the back of the humerus head. All your rotators. Check your jaw. See if your hands are relaxed. Try and get as much relaxation in the rest of your body as you can. You can move the arm in that spot. So this is the lateral edge, the lateral edge of the shoulder blade. We did the inner edge yesterday. So now we're working the outer edge, and you can start to walk your ball down on that back line. Serratus, lats, intercostals. So many things happening back there. So neglected. Moving down that, I don't know, what do we call that? The southwest side of your rib cage?
That works.
All right, and when you're ready, you could take that off the ball and come down to the floor. Maybe keep your two balls on either side of your mat so you're using them evenly. Of course, I have one of Lisa's, so she can't do that. And I'll just show you what the route that we're gonna take is, so as we're doing it, you know what it is. We're gonna start off at the lateral edge of your collarbone. So if you don't know where your collarbone is, just take a moment and find it. It starts at the notch and goes out toward your shoulder. We're gonna roll underneath the collarbone toward the center of your body, and then down the side of your sternum, which is the bone where your ribs attach. If you have breast tissue, you're gonna have to move it out of the way maybe a little bit. Come down to the bottom of your sternum, and then along your lowest rib, right on the edge of your rib cage. And then we're gonna come up the front of the side. So if that was the southwest corner, now we're gonna be on the northeast or west corner of the rib cage. Come back up the side, and then we're gonna roll a bunch of places right in the middle of the chest, the pec. All right, so come on down, find the lateral edge of your shoulder blade. Now, two things about this work. If you have an alpha ball, first of all, this might be, or pluses, it might be much easier because it's a little hard to get enough weight into these balls. They're pretty small, but we can do it. So you're gonna have the arm of the same side that you're working on beside you like Lisa does. And if you can't get a lot of weight into that, if you want a little more, you're gonna take your opposite knee out to 90 degrees. Sometimes it's enough just to externally rotate the leg. You don't even have to move your knee. You just need to sort of drop your leg out a little bit more, turn your leg out a little bit more. Can bring it out as much as you need so you're landing a little bit more weight. And the ball is tucking up right underneath that collarbone, clavicle. We're gonna take about 5 stops along the collarbone toward the center, not all the way to the center, but almost to the center of your chest. Each stop maybe a couple of breaths. If you wanna do this for longer, if you're feeling like there's a lot of sensation there, you can pause, give yourself 5 or 6 breaths in each of these stops. Collarbones are, on all the musculature of the collarbones, are part of our fight or flight response, right? When you get agitated, when you get anxious, this all constricts. So if you've been feeling agitated or anxious lately, can't imagine why you would have been, this will be a nice release. And then eventually you're going to come to that notch, and then you're going to start to roll the ball down the side of your sternum. So if you can picture the front of your rib cage, there's this sort of breastbone, your sternum, that goes down the middle of your chest, and your ribs come in. You're looking for the edge of it, where your ribs meet. You can maybe feel the difference when you're on the bone and when you're on the soft tissue in between the bones. And this is one of the times where the small ball is actually really nice, because you can maybe tell the difference and really get into the soft tissue in between those ribs. You have a lot of them on the way down, so give yourself maybe 6 or 7 stops moving down the side of your sternum. You can move your body as Lisa's demonstrating, or you can be still and just breathing. Literally, the breath action of your breath will move you over the ball in that place. And at any time, if you want to take some weight off the ball, straighten the leg back down, change the position of your arms. You can have your head facing one way or the other, or rest it on an opposite arm. Find the way that it feels good to you to lay your weight into the ball. So you're coming down, you come down toward the bottom of your sternum, and then you'll find the lowest rib, and get the ball right on the edge of that rib. You want the ball a little bit on the rib and a little bit underneath it, hitting that border, the border of your thoracic cavity. Lowest rib. And as you start to move the ball maybe 5 or 6 stations down, and notice that it's curved down, right? These are not straight across. These are lines that curve down away from your solar plexus there. And just stay away from the middle of your solar plexus. There's a little bone called the xiphoid process you do not want to be rolling on. It's too delicate. As you move down that border of the ribs, the inside of those ribs is where your diaphragm attaches. So you might be able to feel your diaphragm, which is not easy to do from the outside of your body. You may be able to feel it moving up and down a little bit. You may be able to visualize this parachute-shaped muscle on your inhale moving down and pressing all your organs out of the way, and on your exhale, seating back up into your ribs. So Lisa's got all the way down, almost to the side of her body. Once you start to come off, you can't, at a certain point you won't be able to put much weight into the ball because it's too far to this side. At that point, take the ball out, and you're gonna roll up onto your side body and use your arm as a pillow. So Lisa's helpfully turning over. So extend that arm. The ball's gonna come right in the front of that same line where you were, and your top foot, bring it behind and place it flat on the floor. And then as we start to come up this line at the side of your body, you're gonna roll onto the ball to whatever tolerance you want, and you can roll off. And if you want to tuck the ball a little more underneath you, if you can tolerate a little more intensity, that's great. If you want to just sort of taste it and then roll off again, that's fine. But you're rolling along these ribs a little bit. Intercostals, you have your intercostals, just like your obliques, have internal and external ones. Your external ones inhale you, your internal ones exhale you. They're very superficial to the body, and they thread right into each other. So your obliques and your intercostals are all part of the same breath system of musculature. It's really nice for your ability to relax and to take a big, solid breath to work here. So we're coming up to the inner part of that cavity under the armpit, and once you get above your nipple line, pretty much, you're gonna stop and reposition, come back onto your belly. And at that line, we're gonna take 3 stops across the pec. So wide, center, and mid, but not on the sternum, just to the side of the sternum. So the fibers of the pec go across. So first, we're gonna do 2 passes across the pec, one a little bit lower and one a little bit higher. So now we're on the lower one. And these can be very sensitive, tricky, so go slow. Right, this tension might have been building for a very long time. You're not gonna release all of it today, right? You're gonna only release a little bit at a time. It's much more humane. So use your legs and your arms to seat weight in just where you want. Keep breathing. If it's too much, back off. You can always come up onto your elbows a little more. And then in the middle of that lower pass across the pec, a few breaths, and then toward the center. And then lingering, pausing anytime you want to. I'm going to come up a little bit higher. So maybe right at the level of the seam of your armpit, way back out to the side again. A little higher. So not quite as high as we did when we rolled across the clavicle, but in between that and where we just finished. You got it. So again, 3 stations across the pec. This is stripping the pec muscle, right? Moving with the fibers of the muscle, because these are muscles that get locked short. Stripping will reset the length of a locked short muscle. Cross-fibering is going to work better on something that's locked long. So Lisa's moving her arm here too. And then middle of that higher pass across the pec. And finally, close to the sternum. Alrighty. Then we're going to take it over to the other side. Can you remember where we started? We started way out at the lateral side of your clavicle, out at the shoulder end of your collarbone on your second side. So that arm, same side arm, is alongside your body, palm up. If you need more weight into it, the opposite leg is going to come out to 90 degrees. Also, so you can just turn the leg out. That might be enough. Bending the knee is going to be the most. If you want just a little more, just turn the leg out. About 5 stops along the collarbone, moving toward the center of your body. So if this feels emotional, I'm with you. I rolled this morning and I was like, holy cow, that's heartache. So just give yourself a lot of space, a lot of time to do this slowly. Also, if that's how you're feeling today, when you're done, drink a lot of water. Do not let that feeling sit in your body dehydrated. So drink a lot today. Moving along the lower edge of the collarbone, kind of tucking the ball up underneath it. And again, you might feel this go all the way up your neck into your jaw. Sometimes I feel it in the top of my head. You might feel it in your back. All kinds of places this is connected to. And now maybe you're at the notch of your collarbone. At the center, we're going to start to work our way down the sternum. Maybe now there's enough weight, you can straighten that leg down. You don't need to add any more weight into it. Hands up over your head is exactly where I would be going at this moment. And just feel your body. Check out if you're squeezing your glutes. Right? I found myself doing that when I was rolling this earlier. Let the rest of your body be very relaxed and let the sensation that's being unraveled here, let your whole body have it. Let it generalize, let it spread out, and you can absorb and integrate this release better. So moving station by station, maybe rib by rib down the side of your sternum. And then eventually you'll get to that lowest rib and start to follow the diagonal curve down the edge of your rib cage. So these are not only attachments of your diaphragm, they are attachments of all of your abdominal muscles, toward the center, your rectus, your 6-pack muscles, and then your obliques, and also your transverse abdominis, the deep, really stabilizing corset of core stabilizing muscles. That rectus, I know it looks good, but it's actually the least important to the stability of your core body. And then once you get out to the side and you're not really putting any weight into it anymore, you're gonna take the ball out, roll over onto your side body. Lisa's gonna flip over because she has to worry about the camera. And you don't need to do that. And extend your arm for your head. Top leg is gonna plant flat on the floor behind you so that you can roll up onto some of those ribs and intercostals and really moderate the weight. And now that you guys are 6 days in, you have a lot of experience in how these balls feel on parts of your body that have bone near the surface, parts of your body that don't have bone near the surface, all these different techniques. You can improvise, right? Take a look at the day 1 email for places you shouldn't roll: the front of your neck, inside of your wrist, the folds of your thighs, and any spinal processes or your little xiphoid process. Not places you're really going to want to roll. Basically, anywhere else in your body is fair game. Use the wall, use the floor. Feel free to email us if you want suggestions for what to do with various tissues. And then once you come up, all your intercostals, your serratus, your maybe even a little bit into the edge of the lats over there, you're going to come back to your belly. And we're going to roll first a lower line across the pecs and then a slightly higher line across the pecs. So first lateral, just above the nipple, lateral. If you got to press the boobs down, I get it. That arm alongside you. I like to have my head on the side, but if you want to rest your head, that's also great. And movement is lovely. Stillness is also lovely. See what you need. Maybe try one, try the other. And then moving to the center of the pec. Is it surprising to you how much sensation is there? I didn't know I had that much sensation in my chest. And then medial, right, almost to the sternum. If you don't do a lot of weight bearing on your arms, this might be less intense. If you're doing any kind of push-up practice or yoga practice where you do put weight on your arms, this is going to be something. All right, then we'll come back out to the lateral side a little bit higher in between the line we just rolled and up at the clavicle, sort of split the difference. One more pass across that pec. Check your glutes, check your hands, your face, see if you can relax something that you don't actually need to be moving. And then to the middle. And eventually right next to the sternum. All right. And then the last thing we're going to do, you're going to need both balls. And this will take a little bit of explaining. Follow your clavicle out toward your shoulder joint. It actually attaches to a spine that comes off your shoulder blade. And right inside the head of your humerus and at the end of your collarbone, there's a little, there's a junction in there. You're going to take one ball at each of those junctions, lay down, maybe it's easier to lay down on the floor first, and you want your shoulders on the floor. You want your shoulders to collapse around, fully internally rotated, and have your arms beside you. So let the shoulders hit the floor. And you're going to turn your head in one direction. What we're aiming for here is to find the pec minor. For the yogis, I have one word for you, chaturanga. And just take 5 deep breaths here. The pec minor is runs in the opposite direction from the pec major. It's vertical. It comes off of that process of your shoulder blade and attaches to a few ribs here. And that motion of coming down into a low plank position, especially if you're not really good at keeping your shoulders back, it's the this position thing. And on a lot of us vinyasa types, that muscle is in crisis. So that's what this is for. Moving your arms might feel nice. Just make sure you do this with your head turned to both sides. If you haven't turned it to the other side yet, do that 5 breaths, as long as you like. And then when you're ready, you can come off and recheck. Don't forget to do your supported fish on a couple of blocks or your Coregeous ball, and see how open you are now in your chest, how much heart space you have.
Enough space for 10 hearts.
Right.
So much more space.
Oh my goodness. All right, we will see you tomorrow for neck and face. Thank you so much.